organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on the live edition of Daily Iowan TV.
Something new is coming to campus to honor past, present, and future veterans.
And this past weekend, all anyone could talk about was the Hawkeye athletics. But there was one sporting event that was also gathering a huge following.
All that and more is coming your way.
This live edition of Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kelsey Sanger.
And I'm Alana Neal. Well, there was a ton of sporting events going on this past weekend for the Hawkeyes.
Let's catch up with Alyssa in the sports studio.
Yes, guys, the Big Ten Championship game was one to remember, though not in the best way for Hawkeye fans out there. And though the outcome wasn't ideal for Hawkeye Nation, Iowa had one of the biggest plays of the night downfield. Even with that play, they still only ran 16 plays in the second half compared to Michigan State's 52 plays. Taylor Brooks takes us through this Iowa offense. Taylor?
The talk leading up to the Big Ten Championship was all about Michigan State's Connor Cook and his arm, and Iowa's 4 running backs who have been producing yardage after yardage each week. But it was the complete opposite for both teams on Saturday night. MSU thrived on the run game, while Iowa proved that they can throw the ball down the field. But Tavon Smith's completion by C.J. Beathard for 85 yards just wasn't enough for Iowa to come out on top.
That was an excellent call by Greg up in the box, and the guys up front really executed well as a play action. Protection was great. This is a tough group to block. They're really good pass rushers, so the protection was great. And CJ put it out there right on the money, and Tavon brought it in and finished the play. So it really gave us a spark there in the second half, gave us an opportunity to take the lead, and just a tremendous play, but characteristic of the way he throws the ball and the way he plays quarterback.
No, I mean, I don't really look at my own performance at all. I just know that the team gave good effort the entire night, and we played tough, and it was a tough game, but both sides of the ball played tough, and credit to Michigan State, they played tough as well.
I mean, that played a big part, and we just couldn't come out with it. I mean, they played a little bit tougher than we did when it came down to the wire.
But at the same time, Michigan State played a great game, played well defensively. Kept us scoring fewer points than their offense did, so they did their job, and just got to come back and get the next one.
Reporting from Lucas Oil Stadium, this has been Taylor Brooks for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Fast forwarding through the game, Michigan State's 22-yard drive ate up over 9 minutes of the fourth quarter and gassed the defense as the Spartans scored the winning touchdown with 27 seconds left on the game. Katie Reber got the players' take on what went down in the team's first loss.
The Hawks' first loss of their season coming at one of the biggest games this organization has ever faced. Definitely a close game and a tale of 2 excellent defensive squads. Of course, in the first half, each team was held to just 2 field goals apiece, but in the second half, it was a different story as Michigan State's offense ended up being too much for the Hawkeyes to handle.
Passing, we definitely put some pressure on this guy, the quarterback. Due to him, he's a very great quarterback, but we put pressure on him, and they just ran the ball a lot more. They have a very great running back, and that's what they really got us at, was the running game.
We like the physical stuff up front, but we just didn't capitalize when we had opportunities today.
It was like that on the 1-yard line. They drove it down the field. Credit to them. They were able to come up big, and we just came up short.
We just fight till the end. It's never over for us, and everybody knows that about each other.
Probably the most demanding. Just physically and emotionally than any other game we've played this year.
Came up short. We played tough, but playing tough doesn't win ball games.
We're going to take this loss and regroup it and use it as an advantage to the next game and move on to it and correct our mistakes.
Excited to get to the next game here, and put this one behind us.
I think every guy is proud of the way he played and gave it their all. It's just a tough way to lose.
As many of those Hawkeye players mentioned, this was one of the most physical games these players have played all season long. They are using the lessons they learned from this loss to move on to their next bowl game. Here from Lucas Oil Stadium, I'm Katie Reber, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
It was definitely a heartbreaking loss for Iowa as their undefeated season comes to an end, but they still have a chance to come back to get a final win. It was announced today that the Hawks will be going bowling come January 1st in Pasadena, California, at the Rose Bowl against number 6 Stanford. Kirk Ferentz and the 4 captains met with the media tonight about the final showdown.
Going into the game last night, I certainly didn't feel compelled to defend our team for anything. I don't know why we'd have to. They've played well. I was talking to somebody last night. I'm not sure. I've been around a team that's not only prepared each week, but then shown up and competed about as hard as you can compete 12 times.
Yeah, obviously, we would like to win last night and go to the playoff, but this is the next best thing. The Rose Bowl is one of the biggest bowls of them all, and we're happy to be in this position.
Moving from the gridiron to the basketball court, the Iowa men's team took home another win this past weekend after their first ever matchup against University of Missouri Kansas City. Hannah Thompson breaks down who led the Hawks to their 95-75 victory.
After a rough first half from the field, the Iowa men's basketball team needed a spark if they were going to come back for a win against UMKC, and that spark came from the bench. Coming off a 45-31 lead after the first 20 minutes of the game, the Hawkeyes got a kick from the bench with players like Nicholas Baer and Dom Ewell coming in to help keep their lead. Both Ewell and Baer were the statistical leaders with 14 points each, adding to the huge 53 points coming just from the bench. And even though Iowa had the lead for the majority of the game, the win didn't come easy and had a lot to do with the extra help those bench players provided.
UMKC's got some really good guards and a really good team, so good win, and I thought a lot of guys contributed, especially off the bench, which is always fun to get other guys involved.
And for the players that made that big impact on the game, there were a couple of key factors that made them so successful.
I just try to stay aggressive today, be aggressive on the boards. That's what Coach told me. We gotta rebound as a team.
Our stars are always so consistent with our senior leadership, and we can rely on them. But I think that's a strength of our team is having balance. One night it could be Dom, or it could be me or Brady, or anybody coming off the bench ready to contribute. So I think balance is key for our team for sure.
From Carver Hawkeye Arena, Hannah Thompson, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
That balance is going to have to really come through for the men's basketball team, as Coach McCaffrey just confirmed that key player Dale Jones will be out the rest of the season with a knee injury. That's all I got here in sports. Back to you two at the desk.
Well, I know those tickets are selling fast for the football game. StubHub has just crashed due to the amount of people trying to get Rose Bowl tickets.
I hope I'm still able to get one.
Not everyone from Iowa was busy watching the Iowa Hawkeye game on Saturday night. Senator Joni Ernst tweeted a congratulatory message at the end of the Big Ten championship to the Hawkeyes for winning the game, even though the team lost by 3 points in the last minute. She said, quote, "Congrats Hawkeye football on the big win, #Big Ten, #Big Ten football championship game, #Iowa." Ernst soon deleted the tweet, saying it was a staff error. She then sent out another tweet congratulating the team on their overall season.
Ernst wasn't the only Republican talking about Iowa this past weekend. 5 presidential Republican candidates were in Cedar Rapids over the weekend for the Rising Tide Summit, where they spoke about terrorism, debt, and gun control. The forum was co-hosted by Freedom Works and Rod Bloom, a Republican congressman from Dubuque. The candidates in attendance, Carly Fiorina, Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, Rand Paul, and Rick Santorum, all had a chance to speak and share their views for the audience. Out of all the candidates, Cruz was receiving the most positive feedback. He is currently ranked 3rd in the polls.
In a huge decision announced last Thursday, all qualified women are now able to apply for combat positions in the U.S. military. Over 200,000 jobs previously restricted to only men are now open to both genders. These positions include infantry and the Special Operations Unit.
Gibson Square, just outside the UI Main Library, could soon be looking quite different. Daily Iowan TV's Megan Sanchez went out to see what changes could be made. Take a look.
When Rick Williamson's son Colby entered the Marine Corps, he had no idea what his son would endure or see.
They live things that they haunt them.
Ever since Colby's deployment to Iraq and the impact it had on the Williamson family, Rick has been passionate about giving back to veterans.
Witnessing him coming back into society and the challenge of being a non-traditional student, it just motivated me to want to do something to help veterans. And so that kind of started my quest to do something. And it really all started here at Iowa.
His vision, a garden on campus to provide a space for healing and a way to bring veterans and the community together. Since 2012, Rick has been planning and talking with UI officials, but now it's becoming a reality.
President Harold came on board, and he made things happen.
The space in Gibson Square just outside the main library now has caution tape holding a place for a flagpole that will be put in this spring. Just the beginning of what Rick sees as a step in the right direction.
If we can engage the whole community, I think that will do a lot to help veterans reintegrate. I think that Iowa has such an opportunity to do things like this for the veterans that are coming back.
Ultimately, Rick hopes the space will help veterans to heal and civilians to reflect. Reporting in Iowa City,
I think it's the least that we can do
this is Megan Sanchez
for what they've done for us.
Daily Iowan TV.
Well, it was strangely warm outside for it to be December. I don't even recall having to wear my jacket.
Let's see what this next week has in store for us and toss it over to Casey Landkrantz in the weather studio.
Thanks, guys. Starting out Monday morning, you can expect partly cloudy weather and temps in the upper 30s. Moving to the afternoon, it'll warm up to the mid-40s with the sun still hiding behind the clouds. Continuing to the evening, temps will cool down to the upper 30s. Moving to Tuesday, it'll be mostly cloudy for the better part of the day, with highs in the low 50s and lows in the upper 30s. Be careful if you're out in the evening because there's around a 50% chance for rain. Looking forward to the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday look to be identical to Tuesday with temps close to the low 50s for highs and lows in the upper 30s. Yet again, it should be partly cloudy. Rounding out the week, Friday and Saturday should be in the low 50s for highs and lows will be in the upper 40s for Friday. Saturday shouldn't see lows reach above the mid 30s. Both days have a low to mid chance for rain, so it'll be a good idea to have your umbrella on you. That's all I have in the weather studio. Back to you guys at the desk.
This weekend, the Johnson County Fairgrounds served as the site of the annual Jingle Cross race. Jingle Cross has become one of the premier cyclocross competitions in the U.S., and Daily Iowan TV's Keaton Fuller has the recap.
The race was on for an expected 2,500 plus bicyclists this weekend at the 12th annual Jingle Cross race. The three-day event saw racers of all ages battling the course that proved even more challenging than usual this year. With a messy, muddy course to contend with, conditions are not ideal for racers today, but as you can see behind me, that isn't stopping all these amazing racers from pushing forward to reach the finish line. These cyclocross races combine elements of mountain biking, cross-country running, and road racing, demanding the participants push themselves to their physical limits. Racers like University of Iowa professor Tom Scholes left muddy but accomplished.
Well, it was pretty tricky, I have to say. I crashed a number of times on some of the muddy sections. I got through the Mount Crumpet downhill safely 3 times and over the bars once, so I consider that a success.
In the course of 12 years, the Jingle Cross race has gone from a community event of about 60 racers to one of the biggest cyclocross competitions in the nation. This year's race serves as both a bid for Iowa City as a possible host of one of the 6 stops for the 2016 Cyclocross World Cup circuit, as well as a fundraiser with all proceeds going to the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. Keaton Fuller, Daily Iowan TV.
The Homeless Children's Trust, a nonprofit Iowa City organization, is helping less fortunate families this holiday season. The organization, which recently celebrated its 25th anniversary, will be providing money for homeless parents to buy Christmas presents at Kmart for their children. The goal is to raise enough money to provide for 150 kids each year. Those interested in providing money to support the event can mail checks year-round to the Homeless Children's Trust. The trust is sponsored by the Hawkeye Area Community Action Program.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check out our website, dailyiowan.com, for all the latest news between now and Sunday. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Kelsey Sanger.
And I'm Alana Neal. Have a good night.